distinguished friends, ladies and gentlemen, I esteem it a very high honor to represent the good people of Indiana here on this memorable occasion. It is not only an honor for me to represent something like 4 million people who have a great interest in education, but I esteem it an especial privilege to be here tonight to join you in bestowing honor upon a very dear and loving friend. I have known Dr. Pittenger now for about 20 years. I first learned to know him when I came to the General Assembly, where he had already made his contribution in an earlier day. And from that time, back in 1932, we have sort of traveled the road of friendship together. And I'm happy, Dr. Pittenger, to be here tonight to bring you the heartfelt greetings of our people and to speak for them a word of tribute to you for your contribution to education in our state. The founders of our state recognized the need of education more than 135 years ago. They wrote a very important article in the Constitution, laying upon the government of our state the burden of providing educational facilities on all levels to the youth of Indiana. About 100 years ago, we rewrote this document and again emphasized that important responsibility. And down through the years, as a people, we have worked together in building schoolhouses, colleges, and universities in order that the youth of Indiana might be prepared for the duties of citizenship in a free land. Centuries ago, a great human philosopher asked this question: what greater or better gift can we offer the Republic than to teach and instruct our youth? At a later date, another great Greek philosopher declared that the foundation of every state is the education of its youth. These great truths found lodgment in the hearts of the founders of both our republic and our state. And I'm sure tonight we're proud as a people of the great advancement we have made together. Ball State has played an important role in this field of human instruction, preparing the youth of Indiana for good citizenship and for instructors of other generations. We needed Ball State in Indiana from its very beginning. We need it more today than perhaps any other period in the state's history. We are reminded now that about 100,000 new school children are added to our population each year. 100,000 new students. They need to be trained in the free schools of our state. To accomplish that purpose, we need instructors. We need them desperately in Indiana and in the nation as well. And so when we come to this campus, we recognize here an indispensable treasure. We might do away with a lot of things that we enjoy today. All of the great facilities we now find in the average American home, we might lose them all. We might suffer many other losses, but the greatest tragedy of all, of course, would be the loss of our educational facilities. And so tonight, we pay honor and tribute to a man who has given so much of his life to this important work. Dr. Pittenger, as most of you know, served this institution first as an instructor and then for many years as its president. We're grateful tonight, Dr. Pittenger, to a kindly providence that has spared you and Mrs. Pittenger for this delightful hour. This great student center will remind us constantly and generations to come that here once dwelt a man who gave unselfishly of his talent and his ability and his spirit to the education of the youth of Indiana. I'm very proud, ladies and gentlemen, to represent the state of Indiana on this occasion. I shall always count it as one of the happy privileges of my official experience. And now, Dr. Emens, to you. Oh, Mr. Ball, that's right. Beg your pardon. Mr. Ball, I certainly would not want to slight you, sir. Step forward here. We're also proud to honor you tonight because this great school bears your name and the name of your distinguished family. In truth, the founders of the school. And we're proud and happy that through the long years of your life, you have been able to serve us so well on this important board of Indiana's government. And so I'm proud and happy to present this key to you as the president of the board of the colleges of our state. I present this key to you.
Thank you, Mr. Ball. It's most appropriate that I, too, make some brief remarks. At least I feel that way. Mr. Pittenger, Governor Schricker, Mr. Ball, and platform guests and friends. It's rather difficult to describe a dream. So suppose I, instead of trying to describe a dream, tell you something about what has happened. 2 years ago, and just about the spot on which we're sitting or standing, we turned some ground. L.A. Pittenger turned the first shovelful. A year ago, out by the front entrance, President Emeritus Pittenger received a union card, a lifetime union card, so that he could wield a trowel. And then this fall at homecoming, we had an open house for alumni and for students. Shortly after we had that homecoming and an open house in this student center, we entertained all of those men who had been contractors or workers in the construction of this building. The people who helped dig the hole, and the people who helped put on the roof, the people who painted and who helped with the decorating, and provided us with the furniture and equipment. And then we had an open house for community members, because the community members have helped us in obtaining this building. And tonight we have a dedication. This is November the 20th, 1952. If I should express to you, as nearly as I can, the feeling of the alums who came back for the homecoming, it was something like this. Well, I'm here, and I'm in it, and I see it, but I still don't believe it. I'm going home and pinch myself a few times, then I'm coming back for homecoming next year, and if it's still here, then maybe I'll start to believe it. Well, it's a little difficult for us to believe it, too. I could describe it in another way. When we were dreaming about the building, we realized that it would take funds to build such a building. And we felt very fortunate when the Budget Committee and the Governor of the state of Indiana approved an allocation of funds from our state allocation of $125,000 to purchase the land and the homes that stood on this site and to move those homes. And then the community members came and said, we want to prove that we appreciate Ball State. And some of the folks in this audience were very active in helping to raise $125,000. And then, of course, students and faculty members and alums helped with the program. And then a bond issue was floated. Well, that's another kind of story about the Student Center. I could tell you a long story about the visits that students and the director of the food service and the architect made to other institutions of higher education where student centers were being constructed or had been constructed. And now you see the building. Frankly, we want to try to thank all of the people who have had a part in this building and in the programs that we've conducted. We appreciate such gifts as the flowers that you see here this evening, and all the many and sundry ways that individuals have helped to make it possible for this building to be here as it is this evening. We want to try to thank the members of the legislature, members of the budget committee, and the governor. That means all the people of the state of Indiana. Now, you know we couldn't get them all here this evening, but we do appreciate what they have done, and we appreciate what has been done by community members, public-spirited citizens who are interested in the future of Ball State Teachers College. We're happy to have this center as a memorial to our illustrious emeritus president. And so on behalf of the Teachers College Board and the faculty and the students who are here and the students yet to come, it's a very real pleasure for me to accept this key, the symbol of the opportunity for service, and to in turn place it in the hands of our director of the Student Center, Judson Bennett.
Governor Schricker, Dr. Pittenger, President Emens, students and friends, there really isn't much left for me to say, except I want to impress upon you that as director of this Student Center, I realize that it's a real challenge to provide an educational and a cultural and a social program for the students and the faculty and the community. With this objective in mind, then, it's a real honor and a pleasure to accept this key as a token to the L.A. Pittenger Student Center. Thank you.
Now the building is open for use. Naturally, we want to have an expression of appreciation from the undergraduates, and Alice Myers, the class of '52, who is the president of our Student Executive Council, will make a statement. Alice.
President Emens, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to represent the students tonight in expressing our appreciation at the dedication of this, our Student Center. We're all very proud of it, and we're very happy to have in our midst these men of foresight who have been able to see into the future and present us with an opportunity like this. The Student Center has been already and will continue to be a unifying factor in our lives, where we can get together and meet our fellow students and really appreciate them. Appreciation is really inexpressible, but if you would be here in the Student Center, you'd be able to see on the faces of the students their appreciation as they live and play together here in the Student Center. And in future years, you will see the appreciation by the activities of the students as they leave Ball State and carrying its ideas with them, go out to teach the coming generations. On behalf of the students, I'd like to say sincerely, thank you.
Emens, Dr. Pittenger, Governor Schricker, and other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. In my privileged capacity as spokesman for the Ball State Teachers College Alumni Association, it is a sincere honor to have a part in this dedicatory service. We alumni appreciate the planning, the effort, and now the obvious usefulness of this beautiful building. We have all hoped for years for such a center as we dedicate tonight. We are overjoyed now that the young men and women attending Ball State Teachers College shall have the opportunity of including the activities that surround the center in their educational experience. We feel confident that our ever-expanding Alumni Association shall make even greater strides of progress in our determination to better serve Ball State. Undoubtedly, the students, the faculty, and the alumni shall realize greater proportions of unity in our efforts through this new L.A. Pittenger Memorial Student Center. At this dedication hour of a building of which we are all so proud, the Ball State Teachers College Alumni Association renews its pledge of continued cooperation with students and faculty, cooperation we feel that will enable Ball State to maintain her enviable position of educational leadership in the state of Indiana as well as our nation.
He has been a leader for years in scores of vital projects: Community Chest, Red Cross, Breeders Association, Hospital Board, Home Loan Committees, to just name a few. So while we show our appreciation to Ball State, we can also do honor to this great citizen. The building named in tribute to him will serve for many years, but his memory will live on and on in the community which he has served so well. These remarks were made some years ago, you see, and we're very happy that President Emeritus Pittenger is here with us this evening for the dedication of this building. L.A.
President Emens, Governor Schricker, other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I have helped dedicate many buildings, but never under circumstances such as this. I really feel that we'd better add up the problem and say, now he's done. But no, we've got to go on. We come tonight to dedicate this beautiful building to the many services for which it was designed. It's a happy hour for some of us who for years dreamed and studied about such a building, but found year after year that we could not realize those dreams. And here it is. It's complete. It's here. It's ours. And oh, how these students do enjoy it. Now, you may not believe it, but it's fact. We've had Union Centers ever since we had the school. We used to hold our parties in the lobby of the administration building. And if Governor Schricker will ask his executive secretary when he goes back to the office tomorrow what kind of fun we had in that lobby, I'll dare say that Mr. Campbell will say we had just glorious fun in those days in that Union building in the administration building. Well, it was make-believe, very largely. Then came the gymnasium, and we moved our large parties down to the gymnasium. And oh, what fun we had. But it didn't serve the purposes either. Then came the arts building, and we had a few little extra facilities. But again, the answer was not there. Now we have a building that is designed especially for all the facilities that go for social and recreational life of students. And it's so beautiful. I am almost tempted to dedicate this building to beauty, even if it hadn't any other use. The beauty of it is certainly high-ranking. I don't have the art and the skill to say what is in my heart at this moment. So I should like to refer to some of my friends in literature and philosophy and let them speak my thought. You don't have to look twice at this building until you think with Schlegel. All the higher arts of design are essentially chaste. They purify our thoughts. One of the things we've thought about from the very inception of this college is that if we surrounded students with beauty, it would educate them in the chaste life that Schlegel speaks about. Greville adds, true beauty corresponds with right reason and is not the mere creation of fancy. Shaftesbury declared, all beauty is truth, and Shakespeare, in his poetic way, said, oh, how much more doth beauty beauteous seem by that sweet ornament which truth doth give. And Socrates prayed that he might be beautiful within. That's our prayer tonight. Keats rapturously thought that a thing of beauty is a joy forever. That certainly will apply to this building. Steele spoke philosophically. To make happy is the true empire of beauty. And Beauvais thought that to cultivate the sense of the beautiful is the most effectual way of cultivating an appreciation of divine goodness. Our good architect here has designed a thing of beauty. The builders, the craftsmen, have worked and worked effectively in realizing the beauty of this building. And the committees have worked on decoration and equipment in a way that has added tremendously to beauty. I should like at this point to pledge for all present and all who come after us that we will reverence the beauty that has been built into this wonderful building. Now I'm going to speak about something that is quite beautiful. In the 12-15 years that I studied on the proposition of a student center, I visited many colleges and I saw many centers, and I saw many wonderful things in those centers, and I saw some that weren't so good. When I'd see beautiful furniture marred with live cigarette scars, when I saw delicate furniture abused, it hurt. And when I saw students sprawling all over davenports and chairs, it hurt. I remember distinctly 4 illustrations that I'm going to give you in just a minute. Take only a minute to give it, I think. A young man had, I should say, before I make that statement, that I developed a crude manner of awakening some of these people and asked him why they slept at this unseemly hour. I awoke a young man. This is the story he told me. I stayed at home with my family and my girl till the last minute, and then I drove the entire night and got back just in time for my 8 o'clock class. And I went to sleep in my class. I just am so sleepy I can't go to the next class. I'm here sleeping it off. Well, I didn't think so much of that fellow. Another boy. I have to work my way through school. I spent almost the entire night last night breaking over boxes, open boxes, taking out groceries, cans and containers, marking them and putting them on the shelf. That hit me in a vital spot. That's just exactly what I'd done 25 years previously. And I felt like saying to him, "Sleep on, brother." A young lady had danced the night before, and she was just tired out. She couldn't sleep the rest of the night. So she was sleeping. Another young lady, I didn't think much of her story either. Another young lady had been babysitting the night before. She couldn't get those little rascals to bed, she said. And when she did get them in bed, they continued to play, and finally one of them developed a croupy cough that demanded every ability she had to try to ease the child. At 3 o'clock, when she was delivered to her room, she couldn't sleep. She was now sleeping in the student center. Well, all that I speak of is for the benefit of Mr. Betts. He will at times have to have the wisdom of Solomon and the cleverness of a Chesterfield. They'll have all sorts of alibis, excuses, but it'll be the business of the manager to think clearly, act wisely, and keep this building in the best possible condition. Well, I've spoken of beauty. I've spoken of taking care of that beauty. Now I'd like to speak of the more practical uses of the building. The world is in turmoil. We know enough, we certainly know enough that we ought to settle these problems, but we don't. And it is my feeling that we can't because we don't know enough about human relationships It is also my feeling that we've got to begin with children in the home, through the grades, on up through colleges, in developing the spirit of human relationships. And nowhere on this campus will there be any place or any condition where the facilities will afford the proper development of human relationship. They can eat together, they can play together, they can dance together, they can think together. It is an ideal spot to develop on this campus a better sense of human relationship. As we dedicate this building tonight, we do it with joy, we do it with hope, but I want to remind you and all who are interested that we ought to dedicate ourselves to the uses for which this building is intended. Let us help as a community, as you've already helped, to go forward in the work of helping young men and women become outstanding Hoosier citizens. Only to the degree that this building does that can we say we have succeeded in this building. And now, in closing, thanking everybody, wishing well for the use of this building, I should like to tell you confidentially that I don't believe I deserve all that's been said about me. If you will consult my family, I think you will find that they know a lot of things that are not so glowing. But seriously, let us in this dedicatory hour think in terms of its service, its future, as if in the hand of the maker of everything, the builder of all builders. It is in the hand of God to bring to pass the uses, the proper uses of this building. I thank you.
Thank you too, L.A. Now I should like very much to thank all the people who have had any part in this total program. I'd like particularly to mention Dr. Johnsoy, who has taken the responsibility for the most of the work connected with it. And if there are lots of time, I'd like to read you all the telegrams and some of the letters and so forth that we've received, but I'm going to read only one. This is an example of what we have in the folder. This one is from President Ralph Tyree of Indiana State Teachers College, and it indicates as follows. Mrs. Tyree and I regret that it will not be possible for us to be present at the dedication of the L.A. Pittenger Student Center. We wish a very happy occasion for you and extend most cordial greetings to you and your fine institution upon the addition of this important new building to your beautiful campus. We should like also to indicate to you that the public is invited to stay after the ceremony is closed and see the building. Many of you have seen the building. Others have not. We're proud to have here representatives from several colleges in the state of Indiana, and even representatives from New York University who came out here to see this student center today. We're also particularly proud that Mrs. Pittenger and the children of the Pittingers are here this evening. You may want to see them later. They're sitting right down here in front. We won't do like we do at commencement, make all of the parents and friends and so forth stand and have attention called to them, but you may want to see the son and daughter, Mr. and Mrs. L.A. Pittenger, who are here. We'll close this ceremony by singing the college alma mater. Will you all rise? Mr. Anderson is going to lead it.